welcome back to another episode of Root Notes. We are scheduled for a campfire chat that is again on the screen porch, but we will not be...
It's again raining.
Yeah.
It is again raining.
Yeah.
It's just that time of year.
So we're going to discuss a book. Some of you may have read the book. These two fellas have read the book. I have not read the book, as is our custom. And
You
so
can
I'm
ask all the questions for the people
who
also didn't read
That's
the book.
my role. That's what I'm planning to do. So I'm excited to learn about it.
Yeah, this book I'm really pumped to be talking about right now, because as we are recording this, we're all welcoming back students.
Oh, yeah.
So we work as professors, and this is the most awesome time to have our jobs. This is the best time of the year, because last week we welcomed in a bunch of new public health students.
That's right.
And, you know, we go through this orientation, and what we talk about, we don't talk about like how great the campus is or anything. What do we do to get students fired up to start this journey? We talk about problems.
Yeah,
we talk about these giant problems that are affecting communities all around us, and about how you are about to have the opportunity to go work on this problem.
That's right.
Yeah.
And their eyes are just afire, right? They are excited about the opportunity to jump in, and you can feel the energy coming back off them. It is the best time to have our jobs.
It really is.
And I really always love my job,
Yeah.
like getting to work with the future.
No, the fall is,
but
things are
this
fresh.
is the moment, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're excited, they're fresh,
Yeah.
they're energetic.
Yeah.
So what book could tie into all of that? It's a book called Moral Ambition by Rutger Bregman. He's a Dutch historian.
Yeah.
And he does do in the book a fair amount of storytelling
He does.
from history. But the point of this book is, what are you doing with your life? And why not work on something that's worth doing?
Yeah, and matter of fact, the quote that I think haunts him and inspires him throughout the book is, how is it that the smartest minds of my generation are trying to figure out how to make people click more ads?
Yes.
I mean, that's something he says there. And to me, it gets right to your point about our excitement about education and kids coming to solve wicked problems.
Yeah.
Because, how is it that the smartest minds of our generation, as he wants to say, are wasting your lives on, getting people to click ads and do meaningless tasks? And so I think that's the inspiration. That's the thing that I think that haunts him, that drives him. And honestly, that's what I would want to communicate to our students. You're here in school because you want something more from your life than to just be a tool for a company and punch in, punch out, and do a thing.
Be more than a tool.
I mean,
Very Generation X way to describe that.
well,
That's
tools
so
are not
true.
bad.
That's right. But what's so cool, and we'll unpack all of this, and
It's a bumper sticker. Be more than
Than a tool.
I like it. We should have t-shirts made.
I'm actually wearing a Root Notes t-shirt.
This guy.
This is the official Root Notes t-shirt, by the way. In Walmarts now.
Yeah.
All kinds of places.
Yeah.
Speaking of like aspiring to more than just commerce, I'm gonna do a t-shirt ad.
That's right. Hey, while we're talking about it, be sure to like and subscribe.
That's right. I've spent the whole day out on the corner, just like with a sign. I've been paid like $7 an hour. Like held a sign for Root Notes.
Oh, God.
I've been
QR
been a
code.
tool the entire day.
Such a hilarious. Oh my gosh. But what's so great about this book is that there are some points that he makes that are kind of surprising or challenging, where he's going like, this is not just a cue the inspirational soundtrack, you can do this. He really, like, we'll get into it and say, he talks about noble losers and not being a noble loser. It's just some really fun stuff. But the other thing that's really fun right from the get-go is he realizes that this book is not for everybody. And he talks about the fact that on the serious side of things, there are a bunch of people for whom their constraints just don't really allow this sort of aspiration to be realistic. Like you because you're just working in like a survival mode. I mean, he points out the fact that the majority of people across the globe are living off $7 a day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's also be honest about that. The other people he wants to be honest about might feel a little closer to home for our listeners. He's like, if you got a mortgage and a Labradoodle, it's probably ain't for you either. Wow. His point is you may have already settled in to like what you're going to be.
Huh.
I know. He says this in like the introduction. I'm like, brother.
He is really narrowing the scope here.
Which is kind of cool for a book that's going to have as its message to inspire people. But he's like, look, I'm shooting from the hip. Like, I'm going to tell you some truth. And he's saying, look, if you're already roped into all this stuff you're having to pay for, you're probably too far down the road. You're probably not ready to quit your job and do the moral ambition thing. But if you're at the start of your journey, you're a young person with talent.
Yeah.
This is the moment to go, I got one life.
Yeah.
What am I going to have done with it?
If you only had one shot.
If you only want, it's a carpe diem kind of book.
It is. You know, he points out some things that I think many of us know already from other places. Like there's sort of a point at which making more money does not seem to, in the data, bring more happiness.
Oh yeah, at one point it was about $70,000. I think it's probably more than that now.
It's crept up a little bit since then. But they're, aspiring to just make more money. Yeah. Doesn't seem to be correlated with you feeling better about what your life is about.
Right.
And then he points out the fact that about 1 in 4 people say that their own job is meaningless.
Yeah.
Now you think about that. It's 5 times the unemployment rate of people who are saying that the job that I do every day doesn't matter.
Gosh.
And basically he's writing this essentially to younger folks. Young adults going, you don't chart a path that does not lead you,
does not end up
to
here.
Being in that quadrant.
Yeah.
That 1 in 4 people choose to do something more. And in fact, he sets up like a little quadrant. You can think about like idealism on one side, and then sort of idealism, and then sort of ambition or go get 'em, sort of entrepreneurial sort of things like that. Mm-hmm. And so, low ambition, low idealism, you got nothing going for you, right? But there are a lot of people who are highly ambitious, but low idealism. And so you're just trying to make a buck, right? You're just chasing status.
But to what end, right?
You're chasing, And then there are people who, quite a lot of people that I think he would call this noble loser category, who are highly idealistic, low ambition. They care about the world being different, but I'm not really doing much about it. I'm not investing myself, my talents into really making stuff happen. Mm-hmm. And then of course there's the sweet spot of people who are highly ambitious and highly idealistic. And that's what he's talking about in the book.
Which is the Aristotelian golden mean at its best. Which is not, think of it as finding a balance. In some sense it is, but the golden mean is really about excellence. It's about achieving excellence, not just having your life balanced. Yeah. It's about maximally arriving at virtue and at a good life, which means that you're really doing something that's meaningful and impactful.
So cool. So the book talks about this thing. I think you're gonna jive with this thing. It was news to me. I'd never heard this history at all. So I think it's the Society for British Abolitionists or something like that. Okay. There are 14 people that sort of get together, start working on abolition. Little different storyline. About I think 12 out of the 14. Check these numbers. I'm always shooting from the top of my head on this, but
I don't have the book.
I think it's 12 out of 14 ish were entrepreneurs. They were used to solving problems, getting things done from sort of an entrepreneurial mindset. And so they start working on this issue, but they do it very differently. They start making the case that you should be anti-slavery. You remember this? Mm-hmm. Because of the risk to the white sailors that sailed the slave ships. Because they did this data work to look at how dangerous it was for the white sailors to be on these slave ships and make the case back to British society that we need to stop doing this. It's a pointless trade that's resulting in harming our people. And that starts moving the needle. whereas some of these sort of emotional, big idea appeals weren't resonating. And Bregman makes the point in his book, do you care if we get the right things done if the reasons weren't your ideal reasons?
Yeah. Wow.
Like if we convince people to get behind something that is the right way to go, but they're doing it for some motivations that aren't the purest ones. I mean, if I had one message to give to especially young folks, it's like we let go of purity. Let go of the purity of the group. Let go of purity of your cause. Let go of the purity of your messaging.
Well, when the perfect is the enemy of the good.
The perfect becomes the enemy. I mean, the reality is that we create these smaller and smaller circles. Online media makes this so much worse, where I can agree with you on 80%, but now we're going to stake out these social media messages that are combating on the little bit that we disagree on.
Sure.
And all of a sudden, we're not on the same team anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
Y'all, if 80% we agree on, we are on the same team.
Let's go with it.
Yeah.
And we have got to let go of that because we can't get good work done. Never mind the fact that you and I mean, we just came off a really inspiring weekend. We were both funded. Some of the work that we do in community is funded by Interfaith America. And so Adam and I were providing some leadership to the Interfaith Leadership Summit in Chicago. And Interfaith America brings together all of these young adults that are about to go back to school. It's mostly undergrads that are in the room. And these young people are being challenged to develop the skills of pluralism by working across differences. Yeah. And it is the most diverse room I'm ever in.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it is wild. Like, you look around the room and everything you can think of is represented in full. And the point of the gathering is, can't we do better at being able to connect to one another? And instead of this retreating to the most pure version of our group, what could we get done by pursuing it on what we do find in common agreement? Now, to the messaging, same thing. What can we get done if we don't have to agree on every little word that's being said or the most pure reasons? What can we just get executed?
Yeah. And we know that because every time you do an economic analysis and talk about economic impact in public health policy, and that moves the needle. Yeah, that's almost always the wrong reason, or at least not a good enough reason to do it. It's not like you're.
That's the way a lot of people think of it as the wrong reason. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. But it often is the thing. If you've ever been to a county commissioners meeting or a board of health meeting or any local meeting, and someone talks about the economic impact of the decision you're about to make for fluoridization of water, for example, and you say, "Oh, wait, we have a huge influx of upper middle class folks who are coming into this area who want to live here, want to go to our schools, but this is going to shut that down if you take the fluoride out of the water because that's not the community they want to live in." Now all of a sudden, it's not about this is what was best for the health of the community. It's about this is what is best for the economic future of our community. You still get the result you wanted, not for the reason you wanted.
I got an even better example, I think, of some of our work in supporting trail networks. And so trail networks, you can get a lot of people around the idea of trails that are very sort of granola, crunchy people that really are excited about environmental impact and that kind of thing, right? It tends to be resonating. That message about climate change and those kind of things resonates with oftentimes a different group of people who you can say, look, we build this trail by your coffee shops, by your breweries, we create these experiences for people on the weekends. It has this economic impact. Guess what? Once there's a safe, fun place to be active and you're walking on the trail, nobody cares what different messages you have to give to different stakeholders to help them see, by the way, it was all true. The economic impact, the safety impact, whatever, the climate change impact, it was all true. We don't have to pretend like some good reasons aren't the best reasons or the right reasons. Come on.
No, that's right. I mean, for better or worse, the best politicians know that. Understand that, leverage that.
Well, Bregman is very clear about that. He said, one of the big divides and sort of, if you look at the past 50 years in politics, So one side of the aisle has been really good at operationalizing things, at saying, let's chart a path, let's create enterprise institutes, let's figure out how to draw maps. And he's basically saying, like, politics aside, if you want to do some big things in this world, it's not about getting online and doing awareness campaigns. God love you. It's about rolling up your sleeves and getting tactical. It's about creating relationships until late at night where you're in a room trying to chart out how this change is going to happen. And that's what, like, when we were at orientation with the whole group of new students, that's when I'm jumping up and down, like, this is how we're going to change the world. And it's going to wear you out doing it. But I tell students all the time, being exhausted for the right reasons is the best feeling on earth. That is what we're going for. And that's what Bregman's talking about.
It is.
It's like the problem.
It's moral ambition. I mean,
that's the
it's the maximal part.
Yeah. And the problem is, like, right now you can go online and you can, like, make your little video and you can complain about these things that are injustice is fine. And maybe it even goes viral. But what does it change?
Yeah. What did it actually
change? And he
change?
said that might look to you like the civil rights movement. But the truth is, for that march you saw that looks like a viral kind of moment, there were weeks and months of planning. Grassroots, people meeting around boardrooms, doing work that is hard work, looks like boring work. They said, that's what's missing right now, because you can make yourself feel like you're doing something when you're not doing anything. Ruby Bridges was not an accident. There were meetings. There were meetings that helped set up that moment. There were meetings that helped tell the story of that moment. We think that it all happened
spontaneously.
It did not.
Right.
And he tells that history to remind us, if you want to do important things, you can't hope that you get up and sing a song and everybody just responds and rallies around it. That happens and then it dissipates.
Right.
The real change is ambitious people going, we're going to make this happen.
And to be clear, you're not talking about, like, what you are talking about is slugging away at it every day. You're talking about being resilient to the opposition, like being resolute but being tactical at the same time. Because the work that you're talking about has so many moments of one step forward and two steps back.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is the demoralization that people sort of get disillusioned with it, and they're like, I just want to raise the flag and take the hill, and that's not really the way to do it. Is what you're saying, or that's what Bregman is saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what Bregman is saying. That's what he's outlining in the book, and he's pointing to the specific challenge of our moment, that a lot of our good energy to be ambitious is being spent and dissipating in stuff that absolutely does not impact anything except for likes and follows.
Yeah. That does resonate with me.
But he also does a good job, though, of, I mean, I feel like all that, yes, amen. But I feel like some people can hear that and say, that's overwhelming at some level, that, I can't change the world. I mean, I can't, you're talking about, okay, I'm going to dig in and do the hard work to change the world. It's too much. He's got a great line in there where he says, I think we ask the wrong question when we ask, what's your passion?
Oh, I love this part.
It's great, right? What's your passion? Well, your passion might be the really big change the world kind of stuff that is so idealistic that it's just, I collapse into, there's no way I can possibly accomplish this. Instead, he says, figure out what problem can you solve? What is the need that you can meet, and then get to work just doing that.
So what is it that you say to our students?
About problem solving?
Yeah.
Solve the problems you can touch with the people that you know.
That's right.
Yeah, that's great.
And Bregman goes, what he really contrasts with this whole idea of what's your passion? Whatever.
Yeah.
Is what is the impact you can make?
Yeah, what's the impact you can make?
Because if you can't get excited about helping solve an important problem, if you can't find a passion in that, check your pulse, man. Well, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And he's saying, like, we chase that in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Like, just find an impact you can make and realize that will ignite you.
I want to give some grace here to listeners or to people who might read this book who are like, that's me. I have a passion for something, but I feel like I can't make the impact, or I'm a noble loser, right? Because right, I mean, so let's be clear about a couple of things
also
here.
A good T-shirt idea.
You know, are we equating your value as a change agent with what you do to pay your bills? Because I think that's
a good question.
I think that's an important thing to ask, and I want to be careful with it, because
absolutely
there are folks out there doing a job. It is a job. They're paying the bills. Is there not a way for them to plug in and have some impact that's not necessarily their vocation?
Yeah. I think that's very possible. I think a lot of the people that he tells the story, he's a historian, so he tells a lot of biographical stories, and some of them are people whose profession is this work, and some of the people are working as construction workers, but they're the people who are not given the Nazi salute even in a picture that everybody else is giving the salute. And he's asking, how do you become that person who wants to do the right thing even when it's not fashionable, but not behind it, the comfort of your Instagram followers who already agree with you.
I hear that.
Instead, figuring out some way to actually become ambitiously involved in change.
Because if you think about the people who were in those meetings, who were in those rooms at night before that march, they were waiting tables. They were construction workers. So they were not all politicians. They were not all ministers.
No.
So I just want to be clear about that to our listeners, that it is not that we are equating your vocation with the value of what you can do morally.
No, the question is, what are you doing, and does it excite you for the change you're creating? That's it.
Yeah.
Whether you get how are you getting paid? I mean, he talks a lot about trying to put this into your professional aspirations. He does, because he's talking. I mean, I think the book is really aimed at young adults.
Yeah.
But the question really is, what is it? Oh my gosh. He tells this story. I'd never heard this before. I think it's a Stanford professor that starts his class by asking a room full of students, if you were in the South in 1840,
that's right,
what would you think about slavery? Do you know how many people would be against it?
100%.
All of them.
They are all against it.
Yeah, would have been the first.
They are.
Which is
first
pretty great, right? And impossible.
This is good news. This is really good news.
And so what that question forces you is to go, well, what is
the moment?
Because they didn't know that in 1840.
What is the moment?
What is it that we now are experiencing? And are you on the right side of history on these things? Are you creating the change? He talks about, actually, I think the chapter is called Join a Cult. Yeah. But he's basically, the idea is be weird for the right reasons.
There's another bumper sticker.
Be willing to run counter to the script, counter to the algorithm, counter to the expectation, to do something that might chart a path for other people, because the reality is that most humans are followers. And so the question is, can you chart a path that other people would follow? Because a lot of people will do the work once they see it.
I don't know if you remember Lynn Sweet. He was kind of a self-motivational speaker, and
gosh, that's familiar.
No. But he's a futurologist.
Lynn Swan is what I was thinking.
Lynn Sweet, but he had a concept of the first follower, and said, more important than an ambitious leader is the first follower. Jesus is amazing, of course, but you got to have Peter, you got to have Paul.
Interesting.
You got to have the first followers. And he has a great little clip of it's some hippie hillside where there's this guy out just kind of dancing a wild, raggedy dance. And of course, by himself, he looks nuts. But when one other person joins in, then suddenly two join. two more join in, three more join in, five, and suddenly it's a dance
Woodstock.
party. It's Woodstock, right?
Yeah, like one person doing it is just a crazy
Just a
fool.
crazy person.
But as soon as you start being the person that
Yeah.
joins in, you can create a movement.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, this has always been the way that I thought about the work. It's the reason I get so stinking ecstatic when I get to do the things that I get to do. But
When he's got the quote, from Margaret Mead, just to stay on that point for a second.
Please say that.
Yeah, he says, it's something to the effect of, never underestimate the ability of a small group of motivated people to change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has.
Yes.
And that's the point about the cult. It's
That's it.
You get not just an ambitious leader,
That's right.
but you get a couple of people together who are committed to it, and you're off to the races. You can do big things.
Now, the best thing about moral ambition is it takes that quote, which I'd heard that quote before. It's a great one to remind people of. And it matches it with another Margaret quote.
Okay.
The other was from Margaret Thatcher. Do you remember this quote?
Yeah, maybe. Go ahead.
People remember the Good Samaritan, not just because he had good intentions. He also had to have money. Like, he took the guy to the inn. He said, "Hey, I'll pay for his tab. Like, you take care of him."
Yeah.
What is that saying? And this is what's so cool about this book to me, like making this point. Do it. Join the cult. Be like inspired. Make your life about something, and realize you have to also be tactical about it. But it's this time of year particularly when I know, like, you can just people's purpose, people's excitement and their moral ambition is just at the forefront.
Yeah.
It's on their sleeve.
Yeah.
And it's just so fun to relish in it.
It is. It's a great time of year, not for the least of which being we're so early in the semester, it's nothing to grade yet. I love that.
I love my job so much except for that.
Wait, we got students, we have the students coming in, they are a mix of the people with just huge amounts of passion, but they don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
So, let's set that aside and now give you some problems to work on. And then we certainly have students that say, I'm struggling to find my passion, but I've taken that first step. I've enrolled. I've taken a leap of faith that something good is going to happen from this, but I don't know where to plug in. I don't know what to do. And, I think both those type of students, again, it's just doing something. It's getting off the couch. It's saying, I want something more from my life than just punching in and out of a job that I don't care about and is meaningless to me.
The most fun to me, one of the most fun things that happens with a new cohort like this is talking to them about some of these problems, like real problems. We're literally giving you what's happening in the community from our experience of what's contemporary, and helping them see that they know so much more than they thought they did about the reality of the problem, the lived experience of the problem, sort of tacit knowledge, and sort of helping make those connections, and then helping them understand these are the gaps we've got to fill in order to make you this change agent. Like, that's what's fun to me, is sort of helping them realize, like, you're not starting from zero.
That's right.
You're definitely not starting from zero. You're here because you have passion. You have more than passion, though. You have experience. And you have a brain in your head that has got you to this point. And then connecting sort of all of that and saying, all right, here are the gaps we're going to help you fill.
And if you, right now, as a listener, if you're feeling overwhelmed by the challenges of this moment, I think this is a call, whether you're a young adult or not, to go, there was a showman when she was speaking, actually shared a poem from an indigenous tribe, and the poem it was really good, but one of the key passages talked about the fact that this can be a moment of excitement. The river is raging, and it is scary.
Yeah.
And some people will cling to the shore. But the river invites us out into the middle to let go and be carried into something new. And I would say, if you are worried about this moment, let that be your inspiration to go, if you see problems all around, then let your moral ambition drive you to something that you can be really aspirational about, like you can really put yourself into, whether it's your profession or whether it's how you really make sense of the rest of your life.
Yeah. Be the change that you want to see.
That is a bumper sticker, actually.
Yeah. I didn't invent that quote. It's trademarked.
If you're sitting there and you're wondering, like, I don't know, I'm not really motivated by any of these things, or I can't think about what the problem is, I would highly encourage you not to necessarily go volunteer with, I mean, that might do it, but just go be present in places where people's lives are not going exactly as they probably would have planned them.
Yeah.
Sitting in a hospital waiting room or sitting. I had this experience where I wasn't intending to do this, but I ended up at the sheriff's department. That sounds like a more interesting story than it ended up being. No, there was like this weird phone scam that was happening, and they had masked their number, and so it was saying that the sheriff's department was calling me, and I needed to report to the sheriff's department or whatever. So I end up there.
That was definitely Wes, by the way.
Yeah, I was sure.
Might have been.
But what happened was that I ended up having to wait there for about an hour.
Yeah.
And what was happening at that hour is that families were coming to visit their loved ones who were in prison.
Wow.
And I sat there and just began to forget why I was there entirely.
Yeah.
And just watch and go, wait a second, this is happening 5 miles away from me.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Yeah.
It's the side of life that it's not a part of my bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start studying with it differently and going like, okay, some parts of this really should be different.
Mm-hmm.
These families need different support. These individuals need different support. And I really think that's the root of some of the work we've been doing in the jail to get better re-entry services, induction for medications for opioid use disorder. Like if you come into the jail now in our county with a substance use disorder, you can start treatment. That didn't exist 3 years ago.
That's huge.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
And I think part of that, I didn't really connect those dots, but it's just sitting like you were saying and having very unexpected connections made by like, oh, these people, their lives connect with mine if I allow it.
Yeah.
And we can together work on better.
The unexpected is some of the most, the unexpected experiences are the best. And we've got so many stories. I actually want to do a whole podcast on that. And maybe we can talk about how we ended up at 2 Chainz's birthday party at that time.
You just died to say that.
You waiting all night. Waiting all night.
True. It happened.
That's
I mean, you know.
But so maybe if you got the mortgage and the labradoodle, maybe you get outside of your bubble and you too could find something to get excited about.
Yeah.
It's the antidote to not in my backyard.
All right, listeners. Basically what we're saying is change the world. So let us know how you're changing the world. Let us know if we can get in on it.
Morally ambitious.
We want to work with you.
Yeah.
Couple of things before we go. First of all, we always do at the end of an episode, detours we're taking. This could be anything at all that's just kind of fun or something you're doing with your time that listeners might also enjoy. Adam?
The Merlin Bird Identifier app. If you don't have this app, you need to. At the end of this episode, you need to download this app.
Hold on, back up.
So Cornell University has put out a free bird sound identifier app, and it is just absolutely fascinating. Now we're getting towards the end of the season; it's the end of summer, but your finches, your warblers, your bluebirds, your robins, your Baltimore Orioles, all of them.
You just named more birds than 90% of the population could name.
No,
that's just it.
Name these middle-aged people.
Laura,
because when
wife.
you get into your 40s, there's
it
something weird that birds all of a sudden become important. They have never been important to you.
Everybody we've talked to you about this.
You get to middle age, so this whole episode has been for the young folks, except for right now.
Because you're going to turn 40 and you're going to buy a bird cam feeder you can watch it on your phone.
So is that what this is? It's a bird feeder?
No. It's just a little app. It's like a record. You just hit you just open it. And it'll just start identifying birds. And what you don't realize is how many birds there are that are out there making their songs.
Oh, so it's like a version of the app that says like, what song is this? But it's like, what bird is this?
Yeah, you just hit kind of like record.
Yeah,
you hit kind of record
Shazam
birds. It's a Shazam for birds. And it will bring you so much joy. I promise.
So we're outside right now. If you were to pull it up on your phone, it would identify birds making noise around us right now.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And
you get like a bingo card and you're like, I got all
well, they
the
do have a
birds.
bird of the day. Yeah.
Bird of the day. And they also if you hear something rare or you're in a location where it's a rare species, it can report it back to Cornell. They're collecting the data.
So it's a little bit of citizen science.
As much as it is fun for you to identify it, they're collecting data on your geolocation and the birds that you're hearing.
I'm pretending like I don't identify this, but I was hiking in Bryce Canyon. And it's gorgeous, right? And I just got enamored with, have you ever heard of a stellar jay?
No.
Yeah, these are like out west. That's a beautiful bird.
There
and
you
this
go.
podcast just became very
There you go.
narrow. And people are getting,
The connection back is
it's a cool bird.
We
Stellar
were-
jays.
Stellar Jay.
we were in Houston, the Houston Heights, and then we were just recently in Chicago. I didn't pull my bird app out in Chicago, but
They're different birds in Chicago.
Pigeon.
I'm sure it's the same as in Houston.
Middle finger, pigeon.
We couldn't identify a single bird in Houston.
What?
Yeah, we were just too much in the city. And I'm sure that in Chicago, it probably would not have identified a single
maybe
bird.
so, yeah.
It's just concrete walls. So, wherever you are, find a way to get far enough out that you can hear and identify at least one bird.
I like that.
It will be soothing to your soul. It will be healing to your soul to hear a bird. I promise.
Even long before my middle-aged birds are interesting phase, I did always enjoy the fact that I get to live in a rural place.
Yeah.
And for me, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's cool about it is because every morning I wake up to just a symphony of birds. It's just like where we live. It's just like natural.
Chris identified 30 distinct different birds, bird types.
In your backyard?
The other morning, out on a walk.
In one morning?
Yeah,
I'm
one
sure.
morning, just one session, in 10 minutes.
Well,
30 different types of birds.
I'm probably getting this that.
Well, we like to get out into nature. We do some camping periodically and go up to Uwharrie and that sort of thing. And every morning you wake up to just a cacophony of birds. I haven't tried the app there. We should try that.
Yeah, I'm definitely
the next time
doing
we go. Yeah.
If you live in the middle of a city, this could be your big problem to solve. How to get birds there?
That's honestly,
It's probably good for everybody.
It would be good for everybody. Yeah, get some songbirds.
I want
in
to
there.
check into this.
There's a whole social media thing about Gen X and their bird feeders, just making fun. Speaking of doom scrolling,
A phase of life.
It's a phase of life. That's probably true.
but I didn't know it came with this. Lots of things came with 40. Here's your bird feeder. What?
I mean, kids can download the app too. Anybody can download it. It's free.
Yeah, now my kids like it. Yeah.
We do this whole causation versus correlation thing. I kind of want to look at use of blue pills and interest in birds. Something tells me there's a relationship.
There's a collinearity there that
I'm not necessarily denying any of this.
I was gonna say the purchase of readers.
Oh yeah,
and birds.
that's the only problem. I can't
Blue pills
read.
would work too.
That's the only problem. I can't read the app. I have no idea. Is that a blue jay or a blue bird? House fish? I can't tell.
Aging is fun. All right,
So next up,
get the app.
get the app Merlin.
But if you're reading along,
Yeah.
let's talk about the book for next month's campfire.
Yeah, so
chat.
next up, it's Alexia Salvateria, Faith-Rooted Organizing, Mobilizing the Church in Service of the World. This is a highly underrated, I'm going to go ahead and call it right now. David,
What?
I'm calling it right now. This book is going to be in your top 5 highest rated books of 2025. I'm calling it right now.
Wow!
That's saying
It's a big
lot.
claim.
Ladies, gentlemen,
You're going to love this
Persons of
book.
all
It is full of, Alexia has done just years of on-the-ground works. It's chock full of incredible stories of organizing work that produces results. It's full of beautiful insights. You're going to love it. Here's a quote. Here's a teaser.
Uh-oh.
Oh, man. Worked out a whole trailer for this.
Faith-rooted organizing. In faith-rooted organizing, our goals are not instrumental but holistic. We're not just seeking the immediate needs or to solve present problems. We're not about winning power for its own sake. Power is a means to an end. We must always ask, power for what purpose?
Ooh, I do like this question.
That's cool.
All right.
Hey, I have a question. Let me see that bookmark. What is that?
It's a pie, actually. It's from Pi Day.
I thought that's what that was.
That's all I had. It just ripped.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So very cool teaser. Faith-rooted organizing. This is cool too, because we'll have that campfire chat next month. It'll be right before the two of us and some colleagues will be hosting an event for faith leaders, and so we'll be thinking a lot about how to mobilize faith communities around the kind of work that we always talk about. So this is awesome.
Yeah.
All right. See you next time. See you up the road.